Hi guys, Bran here, and at the beginning of this week, we did the wonderful video of my top 10 favorite killers in Dead by Daylight, so the people I like the most. But now, we have the opposite. Who is my top 10 least favorite killers? Which ones I don't like, either because I hate facing them, I don't like playing them, whatever. I do not like these boys, they are my least favorite. Brr. Now, there's only 20-something killers in the game, so some of these are kind of be on there just to fill out the top 10. They may not be, like, some of these lower ones may not be, like, somebody I actually, like, horribly detest. But, in general, I don't like these guys. You probably won't see them on my rotation of characters that I usually play, and that's for one reason or another, so let's go ahead and get into it. Alright, so number 10. Who do I hate the least? There's a lot of people I dislike. But thinking about people that I only slightly dislike and ordering those, it's a little hard. But I think somebody I dislike that probably bothers me the least is probably Clown. Now, Clown is just boring. Like, there's no two ways about it. So, Clown is boring because he doesn't really chase. He just kind of, like, auto-wins the chase just by throwing the bottles, and then you get the down. But his new pee bottles, they don't really like give you enough map pressure to really do anything, so the survivors aren't having a good time. All they're doing is just pre-dropping pallets. You're not having a good time because all you're doing is watching survivors pre-drop pallets. Yeah, Fonz? What? You hate Clown too? So the survivors aren't having fun because all they're doing is pre-dropping pallets. You're not having fun in chase because all you're doing is kicking pallets. Essentially, like, nobody's having fun in a scenario with Clown, and it's not even like you're winning because you don't have map pressure, so you're still losing gens. So it's just kind of like, it's just not a fun affair. It's just not. I mean, I'm happy as much as the next guy that Clown isn't, like, absolutely, you know, dog water anymore. But, like, he's still not fun. And that's just disappointing. So that's why Clown's gonna sit at number 10. Number 9, this may bother some people, and I'm worried this is going to be kind of a controversial choice. Remember, once again, like I said, there's only like 20-something characters in the game, okay, so somebody's got to make up this top 10. So I'm going to put at number 9, good old Booba. I'm going to put Booba at number 9, and before the dedicated, Booba fan base comes after me, I think this is more of a personal thing. I don't think this is like an objective thing at all. By the way, this entire list is subjective. Please don't yell at me. I feel like with Bubba, I feel like the risk reward's just really annoying. Like, you know, when you throw a hatchet, you ready and you throw a hatchet as Huntress and you miss, it's still a big deal, right? You still lose a lot of time, which sucks. But I feel like bumping into something as Bubba is like incredibly horrendously punishing. Like, bumping into something in Bubba like feels so bad. Like the high highs that you get of like hitting a chainsaw feels really good. But like the low lows of bumping into things is just so incredibly like time consuming and aggravating that I just don't ever want to play the character. Like literally, like I want to play Bubba when I feel like I can succeed at chainsaws, and if I feel like I'm even slightly off with chainsaws, it just feels too punishing to play him, and it just feels annoying. And then you run into this issue again, kind of with the Clown effect, where like, you know, survivors have to pre-drop pallets because you're chainsaw, and then you just saw through it really quickly, and then you're right back in chase. So their chases with Bubba are kind of like not the most fun because they're having to play super safe and not actually chase with you too much, because if they don't, they get exposed down, and then they can't really go for, not that you should be anyway, but like if you go for a save and you didn't realize Bubba was there for one reason or another, because Insidious maybe, he just gets a double down. So he's just kind of like I don't have fun playing him, and he's not really fun to fight, so I just kind of like I'm not a huge fan of Booba. Number 8. Okay, number 8, I'm gonna have to go with the Dr. Shocker. The Doc, we shock. Doc sits at number 8 just because, like, at best he's really, really annoying, and at worst he just does not work. And I know that a lot of this is like, you know, I just am not a Dr. main. I don't ridiculously practice with this character, but it feels like most of the time I shock somebody, they just get to throw the pallet or vault the window anyway. Even if I'm running like double discipline and shocking them like right as they're about to do something, they just get to do it anyway. And I understand, you know, that's probably server stuff, right? That's probably not like the game. Or like, you know, but like still, right? Like these are the building blocks that we're working with. And most of the time I shock somebody, they just get to do it anyway. And in those days where the shocks are working, once again, we're back with the clown situation where it's like, why did the survivor lose at the pallet? I guess because I shocked at the right time. And now you just get to lose. I emphasize that like the chase is the most fun part of Dead by Daylight. My skill versus your skill. When I shock as Doc and I get it right, like that's just an observation of my ability to get a timing right. Like the survivor's just kind of like eating the shock, right? Like they didn't play wrong, they just got shocked, right? And then how do you counter that? You just play super safe again. You're pre-dropping pallets again, and that's super boring. So I don't like playing boring matches. So I don't play Doc very much. And I know that's gonna hurt a lot of people too, because I know there's a lot of Doc fans. I do like his Static Blast. His Static Blast is really fun. It makes it more available for him to like use other builds instead of having to run a bunch of aura perks, because it kind of has one built into his kit. But I think his shock ability is just really boring, and it forces boring play. So I just don't play him that often for that reason. Number 7, another thing that's going to get me in hot water. Trust me, we'll get on common ground right around like 5 or 6, okay? We'll get on common ground and you'll start agreeing with me, all right? All right? So, you know, bear with me. Number 7 is going to be Legion. Once again, another one that's pretty much a big old fan favorite by people. I don't like playing Legion. Once again, kind of really, with their power, really enforces really boring gameplay. You just run up, stab them, and then they start mending. They hold M1. There's no skill checks even. So the survivors are just holding M1 if you're being super efficient about stabbing people all the time. Survivors can't do altruistic healing plays for more points because it's so easy to injure that, you know, there's kind of no point to heal up. So a lot of people end up playing injured and not doing the altruistic side of the game. So they're not playing altruistically. They're not playing in an altruistic way. But like, you're not good either, right? Like you don't have, his frenzy isn't really good as a map mobility. You can't really break out of it easy and get good downs unless you're running like double fatigue slowdown. So you can't like tailgate somebody and go ow ow and then hit him unless you're running like double slowdown, which is like not typically a good thing to do unless you're like a crazed Legion, like that's like mains him and has mained him for a long time. At the end of the day, you're just an M1 killer because your power has no ability to down at all. In no circumstance. So essentially you're just an M1 killer, and he's just, I feel like if there wasn't the added effect of that just getting stabbed and mending wasn't so incredibly boring on the survivor side, I feel like he would be lower on this list. He'd probably be number 10 because like Legion is aesthetically cool, his character idea is very cool, but he just, and his gameplay is just at best kind of middling and at worst just completely boring on both sides. So I'm not a huge Legion fan. I am sorry. Number 6, this is one that's probably going to get me in the most hot water, and then I promise we will agree on the top 5 from here on out. Okay, so we can get rid of the controversial ones. I'm going to get a lot of dislikes for this one. I want to explain this. Okay, I used to secondary pig. Pig used to be my secondary. Pig used to be my second favorite character in the game. I loved playing Pigwoo. I loved playing Pigwoo. Pigwoo was a blast. I liked crouching around. I still like crouching and lunging. I like how I can get to a short tile and I can crouch and lunge and do that mind game of which side am I going on. I still find that very fun every single time that I do it. But, and you know what's coming. You know what I was going to say. I dropped this character completely out of my play rotation. The reason I did that is because the trap RNG, which is her main power, because her sneak and her lunge are good, but they're not her main power. Her main power are her traps, and her head traps are absolutely garbage. The fact that they are based on RNG makes them some of the worst power, makes it probably one of the worst powers in the game. On average, who knows? But when you have those really bad games where people get their hats off immediately, like in the first 2 tries, there is not a more useless power in this game than those games when that happens. And those games happen a lot. I don't know how the RNG works. I don't know if I'm just unlucky, but I feel like I would say 70-ish% of my games are games where they're getting the hats off in the first or second tries. So essentially, I am a crouching M1 killer. That is what I am. Because my other power literally just doesn't work. It's functioning as intended, but it's not doing any work for me. And it just got so incredibly frustrating to, oh yeah, I've gotten like 3 downs on the entire team. That's crazy. I've got 3 downs. Only one person on the team doesn't have a hat. And then it just doesn't freaking matter because they all get them off the first or second try. And all my pressure's just gone. All that time I spent putting the hats on and doing all that stuff, it just didn't matter. It just didn't matter at all. I will say, despite being number 6 on this list, she is probably the character that I like the most out of my least favorites. But that does not dissuade the fact that she is one of the most incredibly frustrating characters to play as. Like, everywhere up from here, besides like maybe one character, they're at least like fun to play, right? You know, if they're completely miserable for the survivors or whatever, right? But like, Pig is not fun to play because of that. And I think that is what turned me off to Pig. Is despite the boops, despite the sneaking around and literally being a giant sentient walking pig. I know the lore of the Saw series, but it's a joke, okay? And for legal reasons, that's a joke. But just that feeling of having the hats come off consistently at first or second try, it drove me away from the character. And it's the farthest fallen character in terms of the list, because she used to be number 2 on the best list, and now she's number 6 on my least favorite list. So I really, really hope they adjust her hats, because if they fix her hats to like be consistent, she might be my secondary again. Who knows? But as of right now, I cannot take the traps coming off and losing all my pressure just because the numbers said so. It's cringe. It's awful. It's terrible, and it needs to be fixed. Yeah. Okay, now I promised. This is where we start agreeing, okay? So, this is where we start agreeing. So now we can all bash the same characters together, because you know you're going to have a lot of the same ones that I do. So, number 5, Spirit. Spirit has a very, very cool lore. Very, very incredible design in terms of aesthetics. Very aesthetically cool. Has a lot of cool cosmetics. I like her little hand thing that she does when she, does her phasing when she zooms. That's fun. But in terms of characters in this game, we're talking about a lack of counterplay. Literally, some of the best minds in Dead by Daylight have tried to figure out Spirit counterplay and are finding next to nothing. If we're talking specifically about the amount of strength the character can have and having the lowest skill ceiling, this is the character. This is you want to rag on like Wraith and Freddy's, like, oh my god, Spirit is the I don't want to try, but I want all the results retirement home. Like, that is them. You have given up on learning this game and you just want easy wins. That is this character. And that's, that while that is incredibly annoying and those people do suck, it's mostly on the fault of behavior of them, constructing the character in such a way and kind of leaving it that way for an incredibly long time. The fact, like I keep saying throughout this video, the chase is the most important part of the chase is the most important part of the game. It's the funnest part of the game, or else you're just holding M1 and doing skill checks. So, when you have a character that can literally stand still and win a tile, or they start walking and they like half phase for like they literally glitch, like intentionally glitch for like half a second, and suddenly they're hitting you instead. How is this fun? How is this a fun idea? How is this a good thing? It just never was, never will be. Really hope they adjust her in a good way soon. I really hope. Okay, number 4, Deathslinger. Yes, I do hate Deathslinger more than I hate Spirit. And it's funny because Deathslinger is somebody that I find incredibly fun to play. Out of like all the characters on this list besides like Pig, like Deathslinger is probably the character I liked playing the most out of all these people. Deathslinger is probably the person I liked playing the most out of all the people that are on this list currently, and will probably be for the rest of the list, besides Pig. And what happened is I just ended up playing more Survivor as I got further into the game and realized how miserable it is to fight a Deathslinger. he's a stealth killer with a harpoon. So, like, you could be shot from outside of his terror radius. So you're not playing stupid, you're not playing wrong, but you get punished. And then, if you get in chase with him, all he has to do is, you know, ADS like 13 times, like aim down his sights to trick you into thinking he's going to harpoon you. And then he doesn't actually end up harpooning you, and then he, you know, gets the hit when he shouldn't have just because he ADS'd a bunch. You know, like Pyramid Head, like release Pyramid Head, he was able to just like take his sword up and out of the ground like a bunch, and it was like super confusing and like hard to like determine when he was going to throw his rights of judgment or just hit you, and it was essentially free zoning, and how frustrating that was. Deathslinger has had that since release, and it's never ever gone away. He can just ADS all he wants, and it never slows him down in like a significant manner, asterisk significant manner, to where like he's not going to get that hit anyway. So he's just absolutely miserable to fight against. And it's not even like you're going to be like just because you have this doesn't mean you're like winning matches, because you're 110, and on bigger maps you're still going to be like losing the match. So the survivors are having bad chases, but you're still losing the match. So they're winning but having a bad time, and you're losing despite winning the chases. It's just stupid. It's just dumb. And it's just not fun at all. So while getting those trick shots and those reels, and I think I will say in Deathslinger's defense, he's one of the few killers in this game that punishes people for just camping pallets, and that's probably the best reason to play Deathslinger, is because people will just crouch to a pallet and wait for you. But he just kind of, you know, shoots you and reels you in, like, yeah, haha, stop doing that. But other than that, this character's not it, like, at all. And I do not like him at all. Getting into the top 3 now. Who is my top 3? There's only a few left, and you can probably guess who they are. But let's start with number 3. Good old Trickster. No, I don't care that he's hot. I do not care. I do not care. I just don't. Sorry. He is incredibly boring. He is probably the most boring character in this game, and that is his worst crime, is he is just incredibly boring. In his current state, he's boring and probably the worst character in the game. He does not have map pressure. He doesn't have the ability to down quickly. So, what does he do? Because, like, what are killer powers besides having good map control or downing quickly, or both? That's what killer kits do. That's what killer base kits do. And he doesn't do either of these things right now. So, like, what's the point in playing him? And it's not like he's fun to fight, because, like, he's a pushover until you get out in an open space, and then you just lose. But anytime before that, he's just straight up a pushover. So, like, why play as or against this person? Oh, but wait, there's more. In the PTB, since we're talking about the importance of chase, we've just made him, like, insta-win chases almost. Because now it only takes 6 knives to down instead of 8. So now he's just incredibly oppressive in chase, and you go down even quicker in open areas. And now sometimes you go quick down in tiles, because if they're waist high, you just lose. Truck tiles in Auto Haven, you're dead. You vault a window, take 3 knives. That's half a hell state, friend. Such a poorly designed character from the top to the bottom. It was just all aesthetic and no quality. Yep. See you later, Banana Man. I hate you. Number 2. This is a spicy one. This might be kind of a hot take between these last 2, because I think you know who I'm going to put at number 1, but I think you're wrong, actually, because I'm actually going to put Hag at number 2. Hag is not my most hated character in the game. That's crazy. So, like, Hag is arguably, I would say Hag is like the 4th or 5th strongest character in the game, because Hag is what would be considered by most game standards anti-meta. The meta of Dead by Daylight is to pressure the whole map to stop the gens from popping, whether that be from downing people quickly or physically being able to get there, like with Blight or Billy's powers, or like a movement or downing quickly to save time. Hag is the anti-meta, which is I'm going to pick a third of the map and control only that side, except very, very strongly. The problem with that means that inherently you are just camping the entire time. And people like to give Hag players like crap about this, but it's really the only way to play the character, because you're 110, so you can't really pressure the map. All of your pressure is based on setup time, like Trapper, so you can't really like leave areas where you've done a lot of setup, or else you're just kind of like playing a 110 killer that's M1ing, which is bad. So like they really don't have another choice except to camp, and it's really not a problem up until somebody gets hooked there. And it leads to this situation where there's no right answer, which is not something you want in a game where my skill versus your skill is a big thing. And because you're not making a bad choice by going to unhook somebody when there's no tear radius. You're not making a mistake. You're playing smart. But Hag punishes you for that. Should have brought a flashlight, Forehead. You know, it's just like you just lose despite not making any bad plays, and that feels bad. Not to mention, it does this weird thing that whenever you step over a trap, it like hooks your camera towards her. So even though you may be like running away from her to make distance, you have to like quickly turn around again, even though you were already making the right play. The game literally hard forces you to make a dumb play as part of her power. I would say that unless there's something I'm forgetting, this is the only character in the game that literally takes the controls out of the hands of the survivor for about a half second. It literally forces you to make a bad decision. It forces you to make a bad decision. And it's the most baffling gameplay design I have ever seen in this game. It's like, no, just do the wrong thing. I'm gonna force you to do the wrong thing. And it's just like, what? And it's just like, her games, as a result, are incredibly boring. They're fun for the Hag player because, you know, it's rewarding to have your traps, like, you know, your web of traps be rewarded and your setup time be rewarded. But for the survivors, like, they're being punished for not doing anything wrong and being punished pretty harshly. Like I said, she's not weak. It's not like Trapper, where like Trapper can't really do anything even if you know, unless he gets a good snowball going. Like Hag is like 4th or 5th best in the game. Like she's right up there with like Blight. Like she is very, very good. So she's going to steamroll you as well. So it's kind of like a miserable thing. And I would argue I don't have that much fun playing Hag, just because it's like, what do? You just draw triangles, you know? I did that in the 1st grade, Hag. Come on. Think of something else, okay? Yeah, terrible character from the top to the bottom. I fundamentally understand the idea. Like I said, anti-meta makes sense, but in gameplay, it's miserable, absolutely miserable. And number 1, now that I put Hag at number 2, you probably know who's coming for number 1, which is kind of the hot take, because you thought it was going to be Hag, didn't you? You thought it was going to be Hag, but alas, the twins now take the cake. The twins are now my least favorite character on all of Dead by Daylight. This is withstanding all the stuff of like them basically not working on launch. I'm talking about like even current twins is the most miserable experience I've ever had as killer and survivor. I hate the twins more than anything. The twins are the most ridiculously obnoxious character in this entire video game. They are not fun to play against at all. Zero. The feeling of kicking Victor wears away very quickly. Victor has Huntress hitboxes. There's a clip I will go fish out and I will put right here, right over the tier list, where I literally dodge a Victor perfectly and he latches on to me anyway. He has Huntress fridge hurtboxes. He is also ridiculously fast. He is running faster than Feral Frenzy Legion at you. You do not win a chase against Victor. You just don't. It is entirely in the hands of the Victor player being bad. It has nothing to do with your skill. It has nothing to do with your input as a survivor. It has nothing to do with you. You just gotta hope that they suck. And hey, what if they actually miss? What if the Victor player actually misses? You run up to go kick them. Oh, I'm sorry, he wasn't stunned that long. So you go to kick, you start the animation, and then he's free. And guess what? You're right in front of the guy, so he just grabs you. Absolutely stupid, dude. It is the most miserable, unfun thing I have ever done as a survivor in this game, is try to fight with Victor. It is the worst thing I have ever done in this game. It is the most miserable, unfun, stupid thing I have ever had the displeasure of doing in this game, is playing against a Victor. Oh, and if you're injured, it's a down. If you're injured, it's a down. So if you get injured at all, it's a free down. Unless the twins are bad. Unless the twins player is bad, it's a free down. Why should anything in this game be free? Hello? Are you kidding me? It's absolutely ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous because he's almost twice as fast as you. So if you're injured, you just gotta hope he misses, which is ridiculous. Oh, and it gets worse. It gets even worse than that. Remember how we talked about Hag being able to just like punish players for making good decisions? So imagine this. Imagine this scene. Imagine this scene. There's no tear radius. Your friend's hooked on the other side of the map. You're like, okay, I gotta go get my friend off hook because I don't want him to hit second stage, right? So you go running over, no tear radius, no signs of the killer in sight. So you go up and you go to unhook your friend, and then you hear, and then suddenly Charlotte pops out from behind a wall because she was camping the hook the entire time. So despite the fact that by all accounts you were making the safest, most intelligent decision as survivors you could make to get that unhooked safely. Oh, sorry, bud. I was camping the hook the entire time. Really? Really? So you have the unfun part of Hag where you're being punished for making good decisions, making safe decisions, along with chases essentially being useless. Like, I feel like Twins, I'm going to say this, and this is going to get me a lot of gruff. I understand. I feel like Twins is just as oppressive as Spirit and Chase. At least Victor is. I feel like they're just as oppressive in Chase. I feel like they're just as oppressive. Victor also, even if you stop Victor, he comes back in like 15 seconds. He's like super quick. It doesn't even like kicking him doesn't even do anything. Like, you take all this time to like mind game him and you finally get that kick, which I said earlier was super difficult, and he's just back in 2 seconds. Most horrible dog water design character I have ever played against. Worst character in Dead by Daylight. I would not be happier in my life than if that character just got straight up removed. It's absolutely terrible. Absolutely awful. Just awful in every way. I hate this character from the top to the bottom. There's nothing I'll ever like about this character. Okay, I can rant about how much I hate Twins all day, but this video is already super long. I'm gonna have to cut like a bunch of things because, oh my god, I've ranted so much. But yes, that is my top 10 least liked characters in all of Dead by Daylight. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully, I know the top 5 you probably agreed with to the most extent. I'm kind of interested to see what you guys think about like the rest of the top 10, because that's where it gets kind of controversial. So let me know what you think. Let me know what your least favorite killers are in this game. I'm pretty sure you're going to agree with kind of the top 5. And if I don't see you in the next YouTube video or on the Twitch stream, I will see you when I see you, friends. Goodbye.